Well, go back to the skill set. So you've got to be able to deal with actors, talent and difficulties.
Yeah.
DP
and
producers.
Producers, yeah.
So that's going to be somebody in your case about the budget or about time or what do they?
Producers are they have those type of producers who are like line producers who are definitely on schedule and on budget and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of times, I've worked with producers like this where they're creative producers as well, where they may come up with the idea or option a script or a story that they'll do. I like to when I'm looking for producers to work with, I want someone I'm going to collaborate with, not just be the money guy, because. It's the more brains on a problem, usually the better, I find. Yeah. And, it's nice, I guess, ultimately when you're the director, and in my case, sometimes the executive producer, it's like ultimately my decision. Right. But it's nice to have that sort of support system of all these people who are really great at their crafts and collectively you'll make it better with synergy,
So are you thinking about music as a director?
Yeah.
What stage are you thinking about it? At the end? At the beginning? Where are you with that?
I mean, it really depends on what the scene would be or whatever. I've done movies where I play a little guitar and a little bit of music too. So I've done scenes in movies where I've written the music for that. I know what I wanted going into it. I know what kind of style it's going to be, and it's going to be part of the scene. But it's like anything else. It's just another. These are all. The way you look at it, it's all tools that you can use to make the film whatever you want it to be, So yeah, you definitely are thinking of, a style, of music going into it because that'll help you set the pace. That'll help you set the tone for the actors even. Sometimes when I was doing movies, what I would do is I'd make a mixtape of music for the actors to listen to, or even the DP to listen to. Like, hey, this is music that inspires this, or even. Paintings, like I remember when I was making films, like, oh, this is a great Francis Bacon painting that is the style of, this is, I want this to inspire you. And because this inspires me, this is what I think about when I think of this scene or this moment or whatever. Same with the music, and same with every other aspect of a film. And that's why I really love the craft because it really puts, I like to play music and draw and all that sort of stuff. So filmmaking was what I had found to sort of put all the creative, talents and things that I love to do together in one medium where, you're creating something new.
That makes sense. So as a director, you're also going to be dealing with the sound people. You got to get the sound to the film. And what else? What other skills are you going to? What other things do you have to do as a director?
Wow. You're dealing with the sound, you're dealing with the editing as well.
After the post-production?
In post-production, that's a huge part of it, obviously. And the same thing, when I made my thesis film, I had a certain way that I wanted it to be, but the editor was like, oh, I'll try a scene this way. And he'll create a moment that I never even had thought of that was like, this is awesome. Like, this is better than I could have ever. I never imagined it this way, but it makes it so much better. Thank you. Let's put it in. So it's all part of that collaborative process.
So it must be a thrill working with genuinely creative people at every step.
Yeah, and
it's this team.
Right, and when everyone knows their craft really well, and it's just like it's like writing to them or whatever. It's just like they can do it effortlessly. It's great to work with people like that who really know what they're doing, but it's also great to figure it out because that's how I started too. Like I had no idea how to shoot a movie. We're just going to do it, and that's part of the fun of it as well. So,
well, if you're directing, you've probably got somebody right near you where you can just do this. Who is that person?
You have an assistant director. Who is the person who really sort of makes the trains run on time on the set. They'll have whenever the act, they'll know what scenes are going on when. They're also responsible for creating like a call sheet, which is like who's coming to work this day and what time they need to be there and all that sort of stuff. They're really the sort of master of the schedule. And they work really closely with the line producer and the production manager to make sure that, if someone's a half an hour late, or if the production runs a half an hour late, that's going to cost you X amount of money because that's overtime and all those other things. So, as a director, your right-hand man is the AD, who is really making sure that you're, that everything's happening at the right time. Like, you'll block a scene with actors, to get the sort of general sense of where it is. The cinematographer would be right there, and you help. You're working together to block the scene, and then it's the DP set for a while. They're going to light whatever you just talked about. The actors go away. Sometimes the director would go away as well and just work on whatever else, preparing for the scene. And then, and hopefully that'll be running on schedule. But it's the AD's job to make sure that the cinematographer is on time and not running behind and all that sort of stuff.
Did it ever freak you out to know that you're spending $10,000 a minute or something? I mean,
try not to think of it that way. I mean, it's kind of cool to think that I've spent like $20 million in a year for the past like 6 years or whatever. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't really think of it that way because if you think of it like I have 24 episodes to do, and I'm going to be traveling around the country for the next 9 months, and I have all this that I need to take care of. If you think of it like that, it is going to freak you out.
Yeah.
But it's really more like, okay, but no, I'm going to shoot this episode in 4 days, and I know that I have this amount of, people working on this. Yeah, exactly. Bite-sized morsels is the way I try to think of it. It's like, okay, every day is like one little bit less that you have to do, and if you try not to think of it as the whole, but just like, okay, here's the process and we're starting through it.
Right.
Then it's fine, because it is awesome to spend that much money, but it's also good to know like what the value of something is, like how much should a helicopter cost if I want to shoot a helicopter scene. Like, okay, that's going to cost me X amount. I know if I'm getting screwed on that and whether it's worth it. Like, what's the production value that I'm getting out of that for what I'm spending on it? So that's another huge part of the decision making sort of the creative process. And I try to be responsible. Some producers and directors I worked for could care less about what if they're over budget or whatever. But I try to be responsible about it and like, okay, we're going to be reasonable, and we'll find a creative solution around something we can't afford to do, and usually that'll be better than spending all the money for the big crane or helicopter or whatever shot that you want to do.